Hi, I'm Martine Brisson. Welcome. This is my first video in English. I did about 20, I think, 17, 20 in French, but it's the first one that I do in English. I was just being delaying it, doing it in English just because of my funny accent. But I decided because lots of people on this site are Anglophone that to actually do something for you guys. And this week, as I'm talking to you, we're about mid-June, so the kids are almost out of school, and lots of people start dreaming about their vacation and where they're going to go and all the plans. And with lots of people, it's more like a fearful time because there's many places that they won't go because of one big fear. And yes, fear of flying. So they will only go to places where they can drive themselves, and they will forfeit going maybe in very interesting places, or they will just drive their family to the airport and wave them goodbye because they won't go anywhere on an airplane. So, and that's about, according to some studies that were done in the States and in Europe, about 10 to 30% of people have this fear of flying. And where does that come from, that fear of flying? Well, maybe some people have seen one movie too many because now in Hollywood, there's always a catastrophe or something bad happening on an airplane. Some shows also, I think it's on Discovery, there's a show about all the airplane disasters. So if you see one of those shows too many, of course, when it's your time to go flying, you might get a bit fearful. And yeah, and all the security also at the airport. Now they ask us to go like 3 hours in advance of your flight because you have to go to jump all those hoops, security before flying. So people that are already fearful, of course, that might increase their fear of flying. For some people, maybe because it's only a bad memory. Maybe the last flight they were on, there were lots of turbulence, all kinds of funny noises, and now they're a little bit more fearful to fly the next time around. And that fear is like any other fear. When you are fear, you avoid flying, and because you avoid flying, you get more fearful, and then because you're more fearful, you not no, and it just strengthens that fear just strengthens over time. For other people, it's just because they're claustrophobic. We're just in the cramped nowadays, very cramped airplane. We're stuck in this big tube, middle tube, and all one on top of the other, like a can of sardines. So if you're claustrophobic, of course, you feel there's no exit, but actually no exit. So that may cause a fear of flying. For others, it's more like the agoraphobia. Those people are more fearful of big spaces because when you look through the windows, all you see is this vast horizon, and it makes them fearful. Or also fear of crowds. God knows we're all, like I said, on our airplane. If anybody who flew lately, we're all on top of each other. Even I, who's not all that tall, I feel sometimes in some airlines that have my knees up to my forehead. So a fear of crowds, of course, no, it doesn't help to be in airplane. More rarely it could be the fear of heights. I know it does happen. I haven't seen anybody that cause a force of flying, but I know for some people fear of heights. Um, for many people, it's more the lack of control that they feel inside of an airplane. Because when you're flying, you actually put your lives in the hands of the airline company, right? You trust that they done all the safety maintenance on that plane. You have to trust the pilots that they have the right training, they know what to do. So you have to trust. And maybe in real life, you're somebody that is very much in control of your environment. You're very much in control of maybe very performant at work. But because you don't have that control, somebody else has the control, and that causes fear of flying. And for lots of people, that's the case. There's also, well, for some people, it's just because they're just anxious. They nervous Nelly. Anything and everything makes them nervous, and then when they think of flying, they just make all those catastrophic scenarios in their heads. And of course, by the time it's time to fly, well, there are nervous wrecks. Sometimes also it could be a fear of death. What else? Sometimes the fear of flying has nothing, totally nothing to do with flying. Sometimes maybe an event that was not healed from the past. And it's just an emotional resonance. This is a component of that creates an emotional resonance with that event from the past. And that will translate as a fear of flying, even though it has nothing to do with airplanes, nothing to do with flight. But it creates that fear. Sometimes the fear of flying has nothing to do with flying. And I've seen many, very often actually. So what can you do when you have that fear of flying? Because everybody that has this fear of flying, they've been told all about the stats about flying. They know that it's probably the safest mode of transportation. There's a landing every second and everything goes well. So even though those people know all about those statistics, they still have this fear. So just tell them that the stats no is not going to get rid of that fear. So what can we do? Well, there are some airlines that have this day of desensitization. For one day they take the person through all the technical aspect of flying, all the safety aspect of flying. They strap them in airplane seats, and there's psychologists there on hand just to desensitize those people for the fear of flying. And for some people, that works. Like everything else, there's an app for that. Yes, there's an app for fear of flying. I haven't checked them out, but from what I understand, I think when you're flying, you listen to the psychologist's voice that keeps you calm while you're flying. Another way to get rid of that fear is to see somebody like me, of course, because what I do is insight therapy in hypnosis. So I go to the cause of that fear. I find the cause of that fear to eliminate it, so you can get back control of your life and do interesting things. Go to all those places that you've been dreaming about. So you can see again somebody that does insight therapy and hypnosis, or somebody that does NLP or EFT or matrix or imprinting. All those things are also very effective to remove fear of flying. But you don't have to live with that. You don't have to hold on beautiful experiences that you can have just because of that fear. Like most fear, you can get rid of them and enjoy life to the fullest. So I hope that you learned something today, and maybe I'll see you next week on that. Have a good week.